good morning. It's Christine Crutcher from Create with Christine. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. This week I am featuring 3 alternative paper pumpkin cards to the September 2022 kit Spooky Treats. So here's a look at the box. It came in this cute fresh freesia plaid box this month. And I mean, it is Halloween-y, so to speak. But I think with the plaid you could also do fall. Here's a look at the boxes. So you get enough supplies to make 18 treat boxes, 3 designs, 6 of each. So I did put one of each together so I could just show you what the kit is supposed to be intended for. So just some stamping, and the matchbook, it's a match box, and actually the box itself is no adhesive when you assemble them, and just you put a little bit of tear and tape on the back tab of the little wrappers. So here was one, and if you are not into Halloween, like this is just fresh freesia in white, so you could totally do birthday or another season. This one's kind of like a spider web, but again, you could probably do something else if you wanted to make this into something else. The box itself is pumpkin pie, so you could do fall, Thanksgiving. And then this is the third one, and it's the plaid one with black, but you know, black goes with everything. So you totally could make these into other boxes for other holidays or events, and again, they're all just little matchbox boxes. So what I did with this kit is I made some of the pieces, and I will go over as I go the things I added, but I did 3 simple cards. So we'll go through them and make them together. Here's card 1. Here is card 2. Sorry, the twine's kind of going everywhere on this one. And then here's card 3. So I'm gonna point my camera down at my station and we will jump right in this week. And I hope you're having a great week. Let me get my camera down and we'll jump right in. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. I want to make sure I can find myself in my feed, so just give me a second to see if I popped up yet. Let me see. Looking for myself. So I hope you're having a great week. It's been busy. We've had my husband's birthday was yesterday. We've had friends that have had birthdays this week. It's been like a busy couple of weeks. Okay, so here I am. So we're just gonna start. Card 1 is just stamps, ink, and paper. So super, super simple for a beginner stamper. And like I said, I'm gonna use pieces from the kit, but as I go, I'll tell you the things that I added on. So card 1, I added on cardstock, a pumpkin pie card base, so 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and you can get 2 card bases from 1 piece. I'm bringing over my Stampin' Pierce mat because this is a photopolymer stamp set which I can see through, and I'm gonna do all my stamping. So this is probably going to be a little bit hard to see, but it's just a scallop circle that comes in the kit. And I'm actually going to stamp the bats. So there's this cute little stamp with 3 bats. And actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm going to do the Happy Halloween first. Sorry. So with this is also a piece from the kit. It's just a little banner, but it's fresh freesia, which is like a light purple lilac-y color, and I want to flip it over and use the white side. So I'm going to do the bats after. I'm going to do the Happy Halloween first. I did, for the bats, I did a little stamping off, so that's why I want to do the Happy Halloween first. Okay, so I'm actually using 1 ink for all 3 cards, and it's Memento Black. So any black ink you have in your stash will work. I'm going to put that aside. And now I'm going to do the bats. So I'm going to ink up once and actually stamp this 3 times. So this is a great technique for new stampers. called Stamping Off, or some people call it second generation stamping. I'm going to go to third generation. So I stamped once. And what I'm going to do is I have a piece of basic white. And I have 2 pieces that came from the kit that I'm going to kind of use as my designer series paper or pattern paper. And I just want to get my placement. These are going to go like there, and my scallop circle is going to cover over the seam. And then I'm going to stamp the bats kind of 2 more times without re-inking to get a stamping off technique. Okay, so now I can actually just go ahead and add these pieces together. So super, super simple. Like I said, with this one, it's just stamps, ink, and paper. You want to make sure your bats are going the right direction. And I'm going to have a little seam in the middle, but like I said, I'm going to cover that up so nobody will know. This will kind of look like it's one piece going all the way across, even though we all know that it's 2 pieces. And I'm using liquid glue in the kit. There's mini Stampin' Dimensionals and dots, so you could totally use those for your adhesives. I just brought in my liquid glue. And then I'm just going to put some Stampin' Seal Plus. Hey, good morning, Elaine. Thanks for tuning in this morning. I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal Plus. I like that for my basic white. On the back, this is going to go onto a layer of black cardstock. So like I said in the beginning, I added black, white, and pumpkin pie as the base for this one. So super, super simple, just a little sip. So sip, S-I-P, my Boston accent, sorry, stamps, ink, paper. So a great beginner card. So, oh, and I forgot to put the Happy Halloween on, so let me do that before I move on. So again, it's fresh freesia on the back, but I just flipped it over and used the white. And I probably should have figured out the placement on this. I probably should have put my scallop circle a tad over, but it totally works. So there is card number 1. And if you are one of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers, I am going to send you a PDF tutorial this week with all the measurements so you can recreate these cards with your kit. Okay, so let's move on to card number 2. I'm trying to see the comments. I see comments. Hey, good morning, Vicki. Thanks for tuning in. Hi, Celine. Thanks for being here live. Super cute. Okay, so card number 2. So some of you watching are part of our Stampers with Heart group, and we had a mystery challenge. We have a team meeting, a stamping team meeting this afternoon. So some of you will probably recognize this as kind of, well, it's my take on our mystery challenge. So this is going to be card number 2. So we were given measurements and some guidance. I kind of changed some of the measurements around a little bit to make this work. So here's card 2. So we're just going to do stamping actually on the outside and the inside of this one. So let me just get my pieces out. So I have 2 pieces of fresh freesia. Let's just do both of them at the same time. I'm going to bring over my memento. So super simple, 1 ink for all 3 cards. And I'm trying not to get ink all over my fingers. I can try, Celine, to show them. I have a birthday party to go to later today, so I will try my best to be there. So I'm just going to do the trick or treat down in the corner, and then mimicking that same thing down in the corner of a piece for the inside, I am going to do a little ghost. So the ghost is actually a die cut that I'm using on the front, but there's a coordinating stamp, so I'm just going to do a little ghost, and this is going to be for the inside. Whoops, he didn't come out so good, but that's okay. I could fix him later. Okay, so the rest of this card is just putting all the pieces together. So let me get my bearings. So my trick or treat And here's a good tip. Let me pause for a second. So when I have a card like this, where I'm going to put a whole bunch of layers on the front, this is a good reminder because I did not do this when I made my original sample yesterday. I assembled everything on the top. Well, I put these layers down on the top and I forgot to do my stamping first. So a layer like this, I always do my stamping first. So then if I screw up, I can flip over, or if I screw up, I know I want to like hide my mistake. So just a stamping tip for everybody watching, whether you're here live or catching the replay on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you so much for catching the replay if you're watching. And good morning, Dee. Thanks for tuning in this week. So I just have a basic black square. And what I did with the wrapper of the plaid one, because I thought this was so cute, I just cut these apart into strips. And I am going to try to line them up. They should line up. See, I'm lining them up with like the black strip on the edge. So I'm just going to line them up. And they're probably not 100% straight, but that's okay. It kind of gives it a whimsical feel. And I'm going to do the top and the bottom and then kind of do the middle. They have a slight gap, but just another different way to use the pieces in the kit. And I'm just throwing these on with a little bit of liquid glue. You could use whatever your favorite adhesive is. Okay, and then for this one, I actually use my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So any die cutting machine you have, I use the tailored tags dies. And this little ghost die cut from the kit fits on this one perfectly. So we're just going to put him on here. Or maybe it's a her because it's Fresh Freesia, which is like a pretty purple color. But this has just got great contrast. And then I was torn what to do. I just decided to just do a piece of twine. You could do a knot or a bow. So whatever floats your boat. If you're going to do a bow, you might want to do a little bit longer piece. So I'm just going to put the end through here. And in theory, give it a pull through. And then I can just put my little tag on here like so. And cut my tails of my twine. So I kind of just have it whimsical, kind of going over part of all three of the rows, but kind of just hanging off the bottom. So super cute. So whatever floats your boat here, I'm just going to give my tails a slight trim. And then it's very hard to see in the sample, but I put little stars on the eyeballs of the ghost. So in the kit, you get these cute star embellishments, and you get them in two sizes, like a larger and a smaller. Sorry, my DNA is hanging out in here. So I am just going to put two of the smaller ones. And these are a little bit persnickety, so I'm going to use the really sharp edge of my Take Your Pick tool to just kind of grab underneath. And that one just went flying and I don't see it. So, oh, there it is. It's over here. So I'm just going to put these on the eyes. So super cute. I had fun with these. Okay. And then I'm ready to go. I put this to a black cardstock piece just to like mimic the black cardstock with the little plaid. And then, like I said, I have that little ghost to go inside, but I think I'm going to re-stamp him on the other side and fix that later. So let me know if you send Halloween cards out. Do you have kids or grandchildren, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters? I like sending Halloween cards out, so I'm going to have a whole bunch in my stash to send out, probably at the beginning of October, actually, so then they can have them up displayed for the month of October. So super fun. And the third card is I'm going to use the Trick or Treat again. This Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna use the Trick or Treat again. And I'm gonna use one of the scallop circles. But here's the card. And there's a couple different ways you can do this one. I'm just gonna show you what I did, and I'll give you a couple tips. I added 2 ribbons and some embossing to this one with my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and one of my folders that I have in my stash. So let's do our stamping first. There's just 2 stamps to this one. And like I said, keeping 1 ink because I did use one of the stamps twice, the Trick or Treat. So we're going to stamp on this piece and this piece. Whoops, let me go this way so I can see what I'm doing. So let's do my Trick or Treat first. And then there's this little tiny spider that I'm going to stamp on the white piece. And I'll show you what I did. Okay, so let's just do the Trick or Treat on the scallop. Put this aside. And I totally didn't do what I did on one of my other cards. Let me show you that really quick with this one too. So here's the little spider guy. I'm just going to have him hang out down in the corner because I'm using one of the die cuts from the kit. And I hope I don't go on my mat here. Okay, not too bad. Okay, let's get this all out of the way. So with the Trick or Treat, I'm going to come back to this in a second and go back to the Trick or Treat. Sorry, I'm a little bit back and forth today, but you can take a blender pen and kind of color this in a little bit. This stamp I just think screams to be colored in. So whatever ink you stamp in, you can use a blender pen and that will just move the ink slightly. So I did this on the last card, but since I stamped it on this one too, I'll just color it in here. Okay, so it just kind of gives it a little bit of color. Let's put that aside. Let's go back to the white piece. So the white piece with the spider web is actually one of the wrappers. And what I did is I just chopped it off, and I want this to go around my card. But you actually have 2 different ways you could do it. You could just totally chop it off right here, right beyond the score mark. What I did is I just folded and put it behind my whole entire card. So it makes it a little bit bumpy. So you have a couple different ways you can do it. And I think I totally did it wrong. So actually I'm just gonna cut it apart on the score line because I think I cut the wrong part of how I did it originally, or maybe I stamped on the wrong side. But anyways, I'm just gonna cut it apart and wing it at this point. So we're gonna go put this all the way to one side. So if I had the wrapper would have gone around the back. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm not sure what I did wrong, but I could figure it out later. Not that important. And it does add bulk, so if you're worried about like your cards being kind of flat, I like my cards to be flat if I'm mailing them in the mail. I don't mind if they're lumpy and bumpy if I'm going to hand deliver, you know, to people, if I'm seeing people for things. And wow, I'm really screwing this up. Okay, so let's take, let's see what I did. Let me look at my pieces. I was supposed to put some ribbon behind here, so I think I can still make it work. So I've done kind of this technique before with some Halloween cards, but I have a piece of the metallic mesh ribbon, and I'm just trying to stretch it out with without ripping it apart. And I'm gonna try to see if I can get this up a little bit. And I can, thank goodness, because I use the liquid glue, and usually you have room to wiggle it a little bit. So, and I only use a little bit, so I am very carefully going to pull this piece up again, and I'm going to put my ribbon back here. Okay. Whew, save that one. Okay. So I'm just going to put 2 glue dots strategically and get my ribbon on here. So I'm going to put one at the top and try not to touch it, what I just did. And then another glue dot at the bottom. And I'm going to kind of go on a diagonal. So, whoops. Okay, so I kind of get my ribbon on there now. So see how it's kind of looking like a spider web with a spider web. So I'm just going to try to add a little tiny bit of liquid glue and get this back on here. Okay, whew. And then what I did is I have my little die cut. Where is he or she? It's purple, so I'm really torn of what to do. I'm going to kind of put this hanging out underneath here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue at the top. And pick where you want it to be. This should be fine. I'm just gonna let it set up for a minute. I just gotta be careful. I'm gonna have some glue there, but it should dry clear. Okay. And then I am ready to put my other pieces on. I put my trick or treat kind of at the top, but I put some fresh freesia ribbon. This is the open weave in color ribbon. I'm just gonna put a glue dot on here on the ribbon. And add this to the back of the scallop. Oh, hey Janine, thanks for tuning in this week. A late good morning. Yeah, I've been up for a while, so I guess it's a late good morning for me. And then you can either do dimensionals here. I'm just going to do a little bit of Seal Plus, so it'll give this a nice strong hold. And I'm going to kind of go at the top here. And then I put this to a fresh freesia card base, and then I added some of those stars to my trick or treat. So super fun. And I did add a bunch of stuff from my stash on this one. So my basic black cardstock, my painted texture embossing folder. I was away, well now it was 2 weekends ago, and people were making Halloween cards there, and you know, I got into a discussion with somebody, and she's like, it's always good to use non-Halloween things, stamps. She was stamping and heat embossing, and she actually did black embossing on black cardstock with a floral stamp, and then she put like the witch hat and boots and did a Halloween card with that, and it looked so awesome. So it just got me thinking about doing embossing, and I obviously, this is just dry embossing with an embossing folder and die cut machine, but I kind of have that thought in my head, so at some point I'm going to use the pokey end for these guys. So I'm just going to take 2 of the little stars and put them on the the lines in the trick or treat stamp. And you can kind of give them a little bit of a spin around if you want them to line up perfect, or you can just kind of keep them whimsical. And that is the 3rd card. So just some ideas of what you can do with the September 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit Spooky Treats. If you're not into making boxes, you totally can make these into cards. So just a couple ideas for you. Let's do a quick recap, and I'll show you the other 2 cards. And then I just have a couple quick announcements before I sign off for today. So here is card 1 with the bats, just a super simple stamps, ink, and paper. And then here is card 2 with our ghost, with our mystery challenge for those of you that are stampers with heart. So before I sign off for today, I just want to say a couple of things. The weekly deals are ongoing through this Wednesday, September 28th, 2022. So if you make sure you go check those out, because there's a bunch of things on sale this week. I'm actually placing an order tomorrow to get a couple things. Hopefully they'll still be available, because everything on that sale list is while supplies last. And then I will be sending out a last call for my first Christmas card class of the season. So local, it's in person this Thursday night, September 29th, 2022. And if you want to kit to go, well, everybody needs to register by tomorrow, which happens to be Monday, September 26, 2022. And let me know if you would like a kit in person or to go. So I've got 4 cards, and we're going to make 2 of each. So you're going to end up with 8 cards in total. This is the Decorated with Happiness. So here's a look at the cards. So like I said, 4 designs, and then we're going to make 2 of each. I don't even think I can get the last one in here. So, so that's all I got for today. Let me take a sip of tea, and then I'm going to point my camera back up at my face. Oh, thank you so much, Dee. So very cute. All 3 are really unique designs. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. Give me a comment if you have a favorite. So I will see you next week, next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. And you can also catch the replay if you can't see me live at 10 a.m. on Facebook. But I put my replay to YouTube, and you can follow me at Create with Christine on Facebook or YouTube. So, and on my blog too, christinestamps.blogspot.com. And I should mention really quick that class, if you're a demonstrator watching and want to buy the PDF tutorial, I do have that for sale. Have a great week, everybody.